What up, dudes? And dudettes? Thanks, Cole. I'm trying my best. Term paper not as good as the live stream. This is true. Fuck that shit. Oh, boy. Brianna, be back in 17 minutes. Well, you're gonna miss all the hilarious banter coming your way. Or thought-provoking, depending on how you're feeling today. Or is it me that's feeling that way? I don't know. Doom is actually a Christian game, made by Christians, depicting heaven versus hell. Some scary stories, my guy. Sure, I can see what I can do. Venus flytrap, that is not true. Or at least no longer. I have deleted all of them and burned them in a big selfies pile of ash. Desiree, you've been here since the beginning. Well, welcome. The gaming dude, thank you. It's good to see you. Phone is on 5%, but you're worth it, man. Hope you have been doing great. Enjoy your day and night. 4%. Oh my god. It's going down by the second. Mr. Blunt. Hello, it's me, Mr. Blunt. I keeps it real. I got a scary story. Had to go into public today. Oh my god, Brothers Grimm, please do be careful. If anyone gets too close, you just gotta scream at them. Anybody ever recognize my voice in public? They have not. They have not, no. And honestly, just talking to people, I don't really think my voice is too wildly impressive. As Arison? I'm not sure how to say it, but it says, hey you, with the 3 Canadian maple syrup dollars. Thank you, thank you. What do you guys think about these new hot beats? I hope they're not too loud. Let me know if they are. I can turn them down a tad. I had commissioned out, or someone approached me about making music, and then I mentioned about how I needed some beats before my stream and stuff that were all mine. And they were on top of that like flies on shit, baby. And this is what we get. And I'm vibing. Miss Molly with the 5 says, Jolie, how are you tonight? I'm doing good. That's all I can really say. Just straight up doing fantastic. Do you look like Logan Paul at all with the beard? Like a bit, at least number one. At least hashtag I will solve this mystery. I actually am Logan Paul. This is my other channel where I read scary stories besides when I'm, you know, flying models out to my mansion and boxing randos. Or was that his brother? I forget. Tanzania. Merry Christmas. We're getting there, huh? Hope you guys got your lights up. Big Daddy Joel. That would be a good rap name. Dedicate October to paranormal. That would be interesting. Honestly, I think if I do paranormal stuff, I just need to do long-ass videos related to paranormal, because there's a few audience members, I think, here. Those who like the voice, so they like anything, right? Use it for sleep. Those who like scary stories, true scary stories, or just scary stories in general. Those who like just stalker stories, and those who just like paranormal. And you know, there's different, you know, in the Venn diagram or whatever you want to call it, there's different crossovers of fans. But I would say, as far as the distribution of fans, the solely paranormal stuff is definitely down on the bottom. So, oh, and then those who seem to really enjoy long videos, you know, they seem to do some of the best. So if I were to do a paranormal video, I think I should just, yeah, do like a real long one with like 20 stories in each one, you know? I think that would get people nice and tickled. Nikki Newman with the 5 says, the music is frickin' dope. Love you, dude. Thank you, Nikki. Isn't this cool? Wow. Marijuana. I love it, man. And he pumped these out so quick, too, which is so cool. He's like ultra talented. I think his name was Simon DB or something like that, but I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. He says he's open to making more stuff, which I think would be sick nasty to get a few rotations. But the one big thing I was curious if you guys would ever even watch, or if it would be detrimental to the channel, is potentially doing one of those videos where it's like, you know, chill hop beats to get spooky and study to, or something like that. You know, it's you know those videos where the girl is, there's always like somebody doing homework and listening to something. And I was thinking I could probably get Robin to do a cool animation where my character is like studying for a test or listening to music or something in front of a desk, and then these beats are playing. And it's probably be about a 30-minute video, so I could see it being successful, but I could also see it being really unsuccessful. Hannah Easton with the big 10 buckaroonie says, good evening, my dude. I missed the last several streams, but I'm happy to be listening today. Well, thank you, Hannah. Thank you for making it. Thank you so much for the 10. I appreciate that. And welcome. Desiree say, next time I get paid, give $100. Oh, don't you even dare do that. That would be honestly far too much to give. But I do appreciate the kind thought, obviously. Do I have an Instagram? I do, yeah. It's Let's Read .official on Instagram and Let's Read Creepy on Twitter. Shit. Holy fuck. Oh my god, dude. Joe Jacqueline with the 100 Canadian maple syrup leaves right all over me, making it fucking rain. Right after someone just, after Desiree said she'd give 100 and I said that's too much, you just poured it right on me. Holy shit, sis, for all the sleepy time stories. Joe, holy fuck. Thank you so very much. Seriously, yeah. My twerk muscles have been weak lately. They weren't warmed up. My ass was starting to drag on the ground there for a while. Haven't gotten their usage. Thank you. You guys are literally so generous. It's insane. Thank you. Monday morning with the 2. Thank you for says, hey you Monday morning. Thank you guys. And Lila with the 2 says, Pradeep is better than you. Also, time me out. Can another mod time you out, or can mods not do that to each other? You guys are on even playing field. Why is Lila, why do you want to be timed out so badly? I guess we'll do it just to experiment. Put user in timeout. Well, there she goes. She's out for 300 seconds. Bill Clinton stole my identity. He stole all of our identities. Don't make me get Jeff Bezos. Jeff? It's an interesting character. I never even watched an interview with him to see what he's like. I guess you probably wouldn't really get to see that. 262 viewers and only 40 likes. Yeah, we need to pump those likes up, baby. Pump them up. Those are rookie likes. Pladow. What do you guys like to play in your free time? Let's read. Yeah, so pretty much my life. I wish it was more exciting, but aside from being, the awesome privilege to be able to stream and record for you amazing people, I play a lot of Overwatch, regrettably, and get ragingly angry from that, as many people in the Discord have probably heard me from time to time, and those who play with me. I also like to lift weights at the weight room, which is good time. Does everyone in this chat know each other? It's weird to be new. Oh no, it's all good. Get to know each other. A lot of people end up joining the Discord and kind of getting tighter that way, but the stream's been going on, I think, over a year now. Like, been doing like relatively consistent streams, so I feel like people kind of get to recognize each other, which is neat. How many beers am I in at this point? I am 0 beers in, but I did have a tea. I think it was a black tea, so getting all jazzed up from the limited amount of caffeine. Did I ever read a story that I thought was too dark? I think so. Have I ever? I've definitely read ones where I have to stop because the grammar sucks, but as far as too dark, I think if it gets too dark, it's usually because I have to edit out like some of the explicit language that's used or something. But I remember when I had like deep web stories up, those were pretty out there. Do I lift with my beard? Oh yeah. My beard is where I derive most of my power, honestly. But aside from liking the stream, it'd be sick if you guys could share it out. That's always a good time. I like to, if somebody mentions the stream or something on Instagram, I like to share that. Some people have been actually screen recording some funny stuff I say, and that was hilarious, because unlike Twitch, I don't think YouTube has the option to like create highlights and stuff a lot easier. Jose, what up? Reverse Drafts playing Skyrim. Always a classic. Always a classic. Xbox or PS4? You know, I honestly have to say I think the PS4 had a better set of... PS4 definitely kind of had a better set of, like, exclusive games, I think. You know? I feel like Xbox wasn't bad, but I definitely feel like PS4 actually had a reason for me not to, like, only play stuff on PC. You know what I mean? Ben Dover with the 5 says, when you drink your tea, do you clench your butt cheeks? I hear it's good manners. I do. I keep the pinky up, butt cheeks clenched, just like the queen demands. Do I have a Twitch? I do not. I remember I streamed on Twitch like one time, had like one viewer the entire time. And it's just very hard to like get people to come over from one platform to another. And the bad thing about Twitch is that once you sort of have success on there, I don't think or like get to a certain level, like partnered, I don't think you're allowed to stream on YouTube anymore. And since YouTube is kind of like my bread and butter when it comes to streaming, I don't imagine that I will be deviating too far from it to try to get bigger on Twitch. I'm not even sure how I would grow on Twitch. I don't really know how anybody grows on Twitch, to be honest. How old am I? I am the big 30, 30 years old. A grown-ass baby. I down with Unit 522. Yeah, I know Unit. We talked a lot more in the past, but I haven't talked to him much in a while. I think he's just been busy with all sorts of life stuff. 30, flirty, and thriving. And pulsating. You tried YouTube multiple times, no luck. Gave up completely. Yeah, it's tough, you know what I mean? He's old as fuck, that's true. It's tough, you know. It's YouTube is one of those things where there's definitely, it's, you know, where talent meets opportunity kind of thing is how they define luck. I think that's the old saying. Where any wisdom for a 23-year-old? Just go for it, you know what I mean? I guess it's been 7 years, and honestly, I still feel like the same person I was at 23. like actually the same person. It's kind of sad. Not completely the same. There's been incremental changes, but like the sort of exponential growth that you have as a human being from like your childhood to 18 definitely starts to sort of plateau, I think, into your 20s and 30s. I could be wrong. Maybe other people can attest to this, but I just say, like, you know, think about your future. Think about ways you can lay down foundation for your future, for sure. But at the same time, don't be afraid to throw yourself out there and just try new things. Take risks if you want. You know what I mean? You're young enough to make up those differences. 23 and you feel 96. That's okay. We all have different interests and different life patterns, you know? Turning 31 was hard. It is what it is, you know what I mean? Like, if you take care of yourself and you just keep trying, you know what I mean? Just don't give up. There's really no point in giving up. You're gonna be 20 soon and you want... Oh yeah, don't do that, Liz. I don't think you should feel bad about that at all. That's like you're still in your... definitively in your prime. And really everybody's prime and where they are in life is just different, you know what I mean? Just give it a whirly whirl. A very good morning from London, UK. Perfect for when I can't sleep. Let's read. Thank you, Bohemian Bee. I'm glad I can lead you into Never Neverland. Do I have a baby face? I do not. Well, when I shave, I do. But otherwise, depending on how clean my beard is, I can either look like a terrifying Navy SEAL type character to, you know, relatively trim and well kempt within the facial area. But if I do shave it off, it's like I regress about 10 years. 24 and feel dead. I think we all kind of have varying perspectives. I think we just got to keep ourselves busy, you know. It can be tough though. I mean, like today, I don't know. I'm on like that night schedule. I'm not even really like fighting it anymore, you know, trying to force myself into a day schedule. Mainly just because I need to like find something I can like have a reason to get up in the morning, you know. But it seems like most of my friends, most people I talk to online and stuff like that are all relatively active at nighttime. And that's what kind of keeps me up, along with you guys, you know, doing streams at night. I wouldn't mind doing a stream during the day and just kind of getting stuff done, but this seems to be when most people are active. You did a funeral theme birthday for your siblings when they turned 30. I turn 30 next year and will not be around them. That's funny. Daniel, what's up, bro? It's good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Well, guys, we have reached about 20 minutes in here. Almost about 400 people in here as usual. So thank you guys for your devotion and love and your support. Thank you so much for your donations. It really, really does help keep this channel alive. So I really appreciate it. We are going to be... And that was about 20 minutes of that soundtrack, which is neat. There's another 6 minutes or so. If you guys are followers on Patreon, it's only $1 a month on there for early access. But I also posted this soundtrack on there in case anybody who's already a patron can go over there and download it for free, or, you know, for your $1 a month. And this is a cool one, actually. This is actually like some straight up Donkey Kong shit, you know what I mean? Donkey Kong remix. Oh, this is cool, actually. I like I just want to like listen to this music, you know? It's like, it might not be quite it might be quite as satisfying to create music, but whenever you like, I don't know, having somebody make custom music for you is I don't know, it just feels really like cool. Like, this is like unique to myself, and I get to share it with you guys, and if you guys do download it on Patreon or wherever you get it, if I end up like making a video for it or something like that, feel free to use it on your streams or wherever you'd like, because just like to share the love of music and creation. Nikki says Patreon is $10 for a damn year, y'all. Yeah, that's true. If so, like it's $1 a month, which would normally be $12, but if you get it for a year, it's $10.08, which is pretty cool. They do a little deal there, so it's up to y'all's. But this might actually be my favorite track on this album, I think. I'm going to let this one play out, then we'll be kicking off the stream here. They're all about like 2 to 3 minutes long. And then if you guys want me to like upload the individual tracks on Patreon, I can do that too, or like send them to you over email or something like that. But all right, let me go to my downloads. Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse, as always, the amazing, fantastic Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse with his spooky tunes. Do I know Mr. Nightmare? I do not. I know who he is, but I've never once had a conversation with that good man. He's living his best life elsewhere, but just not in my DMs, you know? He painted a picture of a butterfly. Nice. You will have to show that off in the Discord art section if you would be so inclined. He's got a new puppy named her Winter. Oh, seems like a lot of people are getting puppies, which is pretty sweet. I love it. Gizmex, it is. Yes, feel free to head over and check that out. How long is my beard? It was pretty thick for a while, like after a couple months of not cutting it, but where I go, the barber will do the beard as well, and they keep it pretty trim. All right, that concludes that sick-ass track. There's a few more tracks on there that you can check out on later, and hopefully I'll start up the stream and play it where we left off, but I'm going to switch up the vibe. And we got 7 winter-related, not based on your puppy's name, but just the season itself. Winter-related stories now that we're in December. I think it's about time. And I'm excited to say that I have accrued enough stories for 2 Christmas videos and New Year's Eve stories coming this month as well. So it's going to be litty-titty. Keep an eye out for that. Any recommendations on movies to watch? Well, I did just watch Dr. Sleep, the second part to The Shining. Wasn't a huge fan, but definitely is interesting as far as like just lore building and stuff, but a little bit extra, I guess you could say, compared to the previous Shining. Architect with a $7 Canadian says your new music is amazing to art. Will you put it on Spotify? And sorry for missing the last few streams. Had listened through. You know, that sounds super cool, actually. Putting them on Spotify? I never even would have thought about that. But I'm going to talk to my people over at the podcast as far as distributing stuff on there. And I don't see why it would be an issue. But that sounds like a great idea. I think that would be really, really cool. Have I watched Knives Out? I have not. What's that all about? Your brain hurts trying to read all this. Yeah. Imagine mine. Just kidding. When am I going to pull a Raid Shadow Legends on you? Oh, believe me, I already have. You missed it. It was a good time. I'm excited for Cyberpunk. You know, I am excited for Cyberpunk, but not quite the same as everybody else because I haven't been following it that much. I do imagine that I will get it, but I'm just going to I'm kind of in that state of mind where I'm just going to let other people have their experiences and see how it is and determine if that's going to be like a day one release type situation for me. I am kind of looking for a fun single player experience. It's been forever, so Might as well jump on something here, you know what I mean? The hologram orca is your father. Okay. Well, we got, like I said, we got 7 winter stories. And if you do have a story yourself, please submit it to reddit.com/r/letsreadofficial or letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. Everything you could possibly want is linked down below or wherever on any of my videos you will find it. Do I know BTS? Yeah, I'm actually auditioning for them next week. So wish me luck there. I'm going to be their like 8th member, probably like a front guy, you know, kind of speak on the band's behalf most of the time. I just feel like I could bring more, like, I don't know. Like I might look like a giant compared to the rest of them, but I feel like if I put on enough like makeup and stuff, I could fit in, but I'm hoping for the best. My dancing skills are pretty good. You know, I'm not very good at like tap dancing. I knew that they do a lot of tap dancing, but I'm getting better. I can do it better with my mouth, like tap dancing. Okay. I'm not exactly sure how to start my story. Oh, shit. It's so funny, like, every time I fucking go to, like, read first, my voice, like, cracks. To be honest with you, I don't know shit about K-pop. I know all of that probably was very accurate information, but I feel like K-pop's one of those things that culturally I'm completely missing out on. Maybe, who knows, maybe I'd fall in love with it, the first song I'd ever heard. And maybe that would motivate me to audition, try out. I don't know, do they just exchange members between each other? Like anybody can, kind of like Doctor Who, you know, they just get new K-pop members every week. I'm not exactly sure how to start my story. This is probably the creepiest thing that has ever happened to me, and I'm extremely fortunate that I got out without any serious incidents going down. I was in middle school at the time. My name is Angela. I really enjoyed school during those days. I was your typical naive, happy girl. I remember it very vividly. It was my 8th grade first semester. It was toward the end, though. Man, there's so many fucking, I like it. Like, I don't know. It's sometimes easier to read when people put, like, sentences that aren't, like, super long run-on sentences, but also sometimes people, when they write, they, like, end sentences like it's like a sentence, then it's a sentence, then it's a sentence, like, and it just, like, fucks up my flow, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like too many sentences. Like, they have to make, I don't know. I'm not even sure what I'm trying to say, but you get the vibe. It was my 8th grade first semester. It was. Have I played Cold War? I have. It was towards the end, though. So I had only a few weeks until Christmas vacation, which I was looking forward to because I got to see my cousins. We always had so much fun. My school experiences were pretty ordinary for a girl like me, and I don't want to sound stuck up or anything, but I know that some men considered me attractive, and it became very obvious with the way male teachers behaved towards me and other girls like me. Ask any kid in middle school or high school and they'll tell you, certain male teachers just have a certain feeling about attractive young female students, and one of those teachers for me was Mr. Edwards. I had him for a couple of different classes. He was my homeroom teacher, history teacher, and geography teacher, so I saw him quite a few times every single day. The way he looked at me, it was just a little weird. I didn't recognize it at the time, but the signs were definitely there. He just lingered a little bit too long, and I know I wasn't the only girl in the class that he looked at a little bit too much. Now, for the most part, this was completely harmless. Many of these male teachers never act on their impulses, which is a good thing, but from what I understand, Mr. Edwards was going through specific tribulations in his personal life. I don't really know the specifics, but I heard a rumor that him and his wife got a divorce. I heard that rumor toward the beginning of the semester, which meant that it could have happened sometime in the summer, or maybe even during the school year. I'm not really sure. It was just a rumor. But it certainly would explain some of his behavior. I remember as time went on, my intuition about him became more negative, and I genuinely started feeling uncomfortable in his class. So there was this one time that he called me in front of the class. He would call on students to write the date of a specific event that we were studying, and you would get up and write the date on the board. If you got it right, you got a piece of candy, normally a lollipop or something like that. But if you got it wrong, you just sat back down. We were actually studying World War I, and he called on me to write the date for the start of the war. I wasn't a bad student, but history was really hard for me because I thought it was boring, and I didn't know the date. I just guessed 1904, but apparently that wasn't right. Even now, I still don't care enough to Google it. I finished writing on the board. I turned around to look at Mr. Edwards to see if I had gotten it right or not, and he looked really weird. I'm not even sure how to describe it. Then he said, "You should know this. You've been a very bad girl, Angela. I might have to punish you after class." He was sitting at his desk, and he said it in such a creepy tone of voice. It was the freakiest thing I've ever heard. Oops. The God of Pez with the 5 says, "Just woke up from a nap, glad to join the party. Spicy dip for everyone." Oh shit. Is that what we're eating right now? Little spoosy dip. Thank you, Pez. Thank you for the 5. And Tyler Mesa with the 5 says, "Hey, let's read. When do you think you'll put out another podcast compilation?" Yeah, so if you go on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, there's a ton of different platforms. I do that every 2 weeks, usually now on Tuesdays. There was one actually released on the podcast this past Tuesday, so there's a new one on there. But as far as on the YouTube channel, when I promote the podcast with the larger compilations, those are once a month because I don't really want to like overburden people with kind of like repeat content too often, you know what I mean? But Lauren, what is up? How is your existence going? Yeah, guys, if I don't notice you in the chat sometimes, it's just because I'm obviously reading or, distracted by other things. It's, nothing negative, obviously. Got 5 on it. It was the freakiest thing I'd ever seen. I remember looking at everyone's facial expression, and they thought exactly the same thing that I thought. Mr. Edwards caught himself. I guess he realized what a creep he was being and decided to turn the situation into some little joke. He pulled out a Nerf gun from under his desk and shot it at me. The class laughed. It would have been a funny moment had he not felt like such a creep. Okay. Joel secretly hates us. Yes. That's why I'm here to hate everybody. You just finished a 15-page paper, and I'm very happy I got to wind down to Let's Read. Hell yeah. 15 pages, that's a fucking long-ass paper. Steve Harrington with the 5 says, "Hey, Joel, get Pradeep something for me. Holdsy catnip. Is that a brand of catnip?" Also, I'm curious. I don't think he's in here right now. Is he? No, he usually finds a way to sneak in, but I do not see him. But Pradeep he's doing good. He's probably holding it down in the living room right now, either taking a very important 20th nap of the day or observing the rabbits outside. Oh, holiday catnip, sorry. I always thought it was like a brand. The class laughed. It would have been funny, It would have been a funny moment had I not felt like he was such a creep just a few seconds prior. I talked to my friends about it after class, and they all agreed that it was really weird. If that experience wasn't bad enough, it got even worse. So it was really cold outside, but the school had the heaters on really high. Everyone, including myself, would wear a really heavy sweater or jacket to school, and then take it off when we got inside. It was the only way to do it. It felt like an oven in that school sometimes. Being the forgetful person I am, I left my sweater in class, and it was none other than Mr. Edwards' class. It wasn't a big deal. Fuck, I don't know why my voice keeps crocking. Aiden, thanks, dude. Pradeep is transcendence. He has transcended into the dream world of cats. Where's the podcast? Yeah, so it's pretty much, it's called the Let's Read Podcast. It's on anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's called, yeah, you know the name, but Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that kind of stuff. Deezer, D's Nuts, or... But the school had the heaters on really high. Everyone, including myself, would wear a really heavy sweater or jacket to school and then take it off when we got inside. It was the only way to do it. It felt like an oven in that school sometimes. Being the forgetful person I am, I left my sweater in class, and it was none other than Mr. Edwards' class. It wasn't a big deal. I had plenty of sweaters and jackets. I even had a spare in my locker that I wore home that day. So it was really easy for me to forget about it after a day or two. I just had other things on my mind. Well, I told my mom about it, and she nagged at me to make sure that I got it before the semester ended. She did the whole, I buy you all these clothes, you better take care of them, type rant. Kinda typical, but she was right after all. Oops. Voice crackles. What's that cereal? Krispies? Rice Krispies? That's what's like boiling in my throat right now. Yeah, kind of typical. That's where... Demolition Mitch with a 5 Canadian maple syrup doll hair says you're a cool guy. Thank you. Thank you, Mitch. Please don't destroy. Please halt your destruction in the chat. But thank you for the 5. Puberty 2.0. I know, it never stops. I just keep getting more pubes. Kind of typical, but she was right after all. I think it was 2 or 3 days before Christmas break began, and I went to Mr. Edwards' class after the last class for the day. What? I went to Mr. Edwards' class after the last class for the day ended. Oh. Wait, I went to Mr. Edwards' class after the last class before the... Okay, I don't know. I went to Mr. Edwards' class after the last class before the day ended. I was hoping I could just look around and it would be somewhere. Maybe in the back or in the lost and found box, maybe. I looked everywhere, though, and I didn't see it. That was when I asked Mr. Edwards. He was there, and, of course, he was oh so eager to help me find it. When I explained the situation, he acted like he was just remembering something. Oh, my mistake. I've just had it under my desk for a few days. I've been meaning to give it to you, I just got caught up with grading final papers. He pulled it out from his drawer in his desk and handed it to me. He played it off like he completely forgot. Something told me that it was not an accident, not only because of what had happened in class that other day, but also by his facial expression when I asked him. I'm guessing that he was holding it... I'm guessing that he was holding on to it in hopes of keeping it, and that he hoped that I would just forget about it. Very creepy, I know, and that was one of the creepiest things to ever happen to me, but here's the really crazy part. A couple of years later, I was attending college. I was very fortunate to have found a really good online program for my major, so I was still living in the same town, and I remember learning about the certain sex offenders. Fuck, I don't know what word we want to use. child offenders or some shit like that. Uh, what's like another? Yeah, let me just. Uh, deviants, maybe deviant offenders. We'll just say deviant offenders. I don't know. Oh yeah, predator. Predators and offenders or something like that. And I remember, fuck. And I remember learning about the deviant offenders database. You know how you can look up any sort of predators that live in your area? It's all publicly available information. I strongly encourage you to check it out. Well, I looked on there for the first time while I was in college, and lo and behold, Mr. Edwards was on there. He was registered there for having relations with a minor. It didn't give you a whole lot of information, but you get the picture of them, all of their information and what they did. Oops. It didn't give you a whole lot of information, but you get a picture of them, all of their information, and what they did. From what I could tell, at least it was a consensual relationship, but God, still, it was a minor, and very shocking considering that he abused his power as a teacher. The creepy part is that it happened just a year after I had class with him. I was really grateful he didn't try that with me. I know it's really difficult when someone with so much power over you tries something like that, but I looked at some of the other people in that database in my area. I was shocked. It dawned on me that there are many reasons to be very cautious. Stay safe, everyone, and be aware of any predators that live in your area. Yikes. Child can't consent. Yeah, I probably should take that part out if they're writing that. I don't, obviously that's from their perspective, so I'm gonna, I'm gonna take that out of the story because that's probably not a good thing to have in there. Yeah, let me just read back because, yeah, that's obviously they can't consent, so that's a really awkward sentence to include. Jesus Christ. Okay. But you get a picture. Oh, okay. It didn't give you a whole lot of information, but you get a picture of them, all of their information, and what they did. It was a minor and very shocking considering that he abused his power as a teacher. The creepy part is that it happened just a year after I had class with him. I was really grateful he didn't try that with me. I know it's really difficult when someone has so much power and abuses it over you like that, but I looked at some of the other people in that database in my area. I was shocked. It dawned on me that there are many reasons to be very cautious. Stay safe, everyone, and be aware of any predators that live in your area. Vixa with a 5 says, can't really stay long. I'm being a bit sneaky and listening to this during work. Hope you have a nice night. Thank you, Vixa. Hopefully you don't get into any trouble. Hannah's a 22-year-old kid. Yeah. I just wanted to, because, yeah. Anyways. The chat is darker than the stories, yikes. Joel, can you read the next story like it was The Night Before Christmas by Clement Clark Moore poem? I have a really bad story from the past. It makes me feel really uncomfortable, and this is probably the only way I can never really tell anyone about it. I'm not sure if that's what you were going for, but yeah. Oh, fuck. Yeah, some of those stories, I probably won't start that with the first story. I feel like those sort of like creepy bullshit with kids and stuff is like not a great one to kick things off with, you know. Lila with the 2 buckaroonie says, PP.
Hey, listen.
My, what is it? My PFP's Uber swouse? Joel, what is it, Cone? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Try to do a British accent, let's read. I tried my best. Not very good at it. It begun to rain here in London, and this is perfect atmosphere for a creepy storm from Let's Read. Do you know why men snore? Yeah, probably, probably because their airway is, like, kind of closed off, and their positioning, because sometimes whenever you're, like, obese, not always obese, but just the positioning of their airway, it can, you know, say like, you know, you see them and their like neck is down or some shit, it's like kind of closing off their airway, so it's just like, you know, making it difficult. I mean, you can probably look up more on like sleep apnea, if you ever heard of sleep apnea. It's kind of related to that, I believe it's primarily that. I've woken myself up from snoring and stuff too. It's just tough finding like a really good position. Oh, as a meme reference. See, I'm out of the meme circle with a lot of these, even though I run the meme page. Your profile picture and channel character is sick. Thank you, thank you. Nobody likes you when you're 23. That's a good song. Us British don't always have that posh accent. I know. I think it's mainly just because I've trained myself to... I'd have to be around somebody. If someone has an accent around me, I tend to, like, sort of pick up on it and start, like, uncontrollably talking like them. Not even trying to make fun of them, but it's just like you hear it, and then it just creates the accent. I've always wondered where the origins of accents start from, and I assume it has something to do with a similar psychology of, like, hearing other people talk a certain way, and then you just sort of pick up their accent. Like, I remember when my brother, he grew up around where I did, and he had a voice very similar to me, but then he ended up moving to more of a rural area, and then he started kind of, like, talking with this, like, country twang within, like, 6 months, and I'm like, where the fuck do you start talking like that? And I don't know. Yeah, I think you just, depending on your environment, you just pick it up. Route Terror with the $4 says, Merry Christmas, Hanson. Thank you, Route Terror. We are getting there. In the 25 days, how many days we got? It's the 3rd. Okay, yeah. We're getting close. Lana Hayes with the 5 says, when did you realize you had such a chill, somnambulant? How do you say that word? Voice. Let me look up that word first. Somnambulant. I don't think I've ever seen that word before.
Somnambulant.
Somnambulant. Resembling or characteristics of a sleepwalker, sluggish. You know, I don't think I ever did know, honestly. Before I started the channel, no one ever really told me my voice was monotone or boring or whatever, you know, or like made them feel comfortable. Like, I think sometimes, like, whenever I would go to, like, when I was younger, I would go to, like, Bible study, and I would read from there, and then people would always, like, make comments like, I want Joel to read do my eulogy or something like that, you know, make jokes like that. But, like, I never really picked up on that it meant that. I just thought it was I don't know, I never put 2 and 2 together. But thank you. And it wasn't until I just, like, tried a YouTube channel that I started getting more comments like that. When do I think I'm gonna hit 1 million subs? Well, let's check Social Blade, because my channel's growth has actually gone down quite a bit as far as, like, daily subscribers. It seems to be more between, like, 200 to 300, whereas in the past it was like 200 to 300 a day, where it was before it was like 600 to 700 a day. I don't know, at one point it just, like, cut in half, which kind of sucks. But on Social Blade you can do future projections, and it's looking like I might get to 1 million subs in, like, a year and 8 months. So it's gonna be a little while. I mean, hopefully things pick up, but honestly, like, as far as views and subscribers, the channel, like its rate that it's growing hasn't really changed in like a couple years. So I don't know. Maybe YouTube will suddenly show preferential treatment to, horror narration channels, but it might be about 2 years here. Raven Westnidge with the 5 says, any more Wendigo Skinwalker stories in the future? That, potentially. I was just saying earlier, if I ever do more paranormal stories, which I think I want to, I am going to try to do, I think I'm going to try to do like longer videos, you know what I mean? My roommate just jumped in the shower, which you guys might not be able to hear it, but like the microphone that I use probably would pick up, pick up on the background noise and stuff and kind of make the recording sound a little. I might be able to like get rid of it, but he's usually pretty quick. I should play Among Us. Yeah, I saw something on Twitter. I mean, I've played it before. I'm not like a huge fan, just because it feels kind of repetitive to me. But I saw that they added like proximity chat or something like that. I don't know. Your voice kind of sounds like the biology teacher I had a crush on senior year of high school. Great. We just got done telling a story about creepy teachers, and you're comparing me. No, I'm just kidding. It's funny though. Yeah, you guys are going to hear up close and personal ASMR of him scrubbing his balls in the shower. Do I play games on Xbox or PS4? Not really. I've said before, I'm kind of down the PC Master Race route, because like once you get a PC, it's like you can just do so much from it. Like I'm essentially streaming and making videos on the same piece of hardware that I play video games from, you know what I mean? So, and you can, once you're like capable of doing it and kind of familiar with it, you can like update your PC with new graphics cards, new memory, it's so customizable. Like there's just so, many options that you can do. It's always the hot biology teachers. What is it? Bonex unit? Bonexanuit? I don't know if I could pronounce that. With the 10 says, thank you for being long and frequent updates. For your long, frequent updates, it helps me pass time at work. You're welcome. I'm glad. I try to keep pretty consistent with my uploads. I know people appreciate it. It gives them something to do, as I always appreciate content creators that I watch always putting out content. And thank you for the 10. Thank you. And the God of Pez with the 5, Buckaroonie says, on that topic, what are your personal favorite horror channels? Well, I really like Lazy Masquerade. I really liked, I don't know how much he posts as much anymore, but Mr. X Dreams, if you remember him. Mr. Scarecrow's voice is really cool. Mr. Davis's voice is relaxing if you listen to him. There was one I really liked back in the day. He doesn't post at all. He really took you into a story, and just, they were always long stories, and he would write them himself. But I think his name was Night Terrors. Yeah, and it had like a picture of a moon. That was really good, and just like really like slow burn type stories that kind of pulled you in, related to ghosts and stuff like that. Sleepers Mick Papers with the 2 says, hello, kind sir. Take my money. Thank you, Sleepers. Is that old Lila changing her name? Do I like cheese? Yeah, I like cheese. For a while, that's like, cheese was a big part of my diet when I did keto. It was just like meat and cheese, and it's not the greatest for my digestion for sure, but it's some good shit. Tom from Tsunami's voice. Who's that? Oh, or Toonami? Or hey gamers, welcome back to Toonami. What's my favorite game or game style? I like shooting stuff. I really like third person. Like I like shooters that do cover systems, like Max Payne and Red Dead and those kind of games. I remember for the first time playing a third person shooter was called Kill Switch back on the original Xbox. And it looked really next gen and sweet, and That, I don't know, something about being able to like, you could blind, I think you could blind fire in it, you know what I mean, kind of like you can in Gears of War. I thought that was really sick, and just diving from cover to cover. I remember the new one of the newer Splinter Cell games like had a cool cover system where you could like point your reticle to like where you wanted. It would put like a triangle there, and then you could tap A and your character would run there real quick. And then had this interesting thing with the AI where depending on the last place they saw you, there was a like a ghost of your character that existed there. So it just like visually let you see what's going on. But it was really sick because you would get close, and I don't know how the new one is, but you would get close to somebody, just tap a button, and do like a fucking like Jason Bourne takedown real quick, which then would get you like, you know, build up your meter, and then at a certain time you can mark characters and then do like slow motion like fucking like headshot, headshot, headshot. It was very cinematic. It was, you know, not as stealthy as the old Splinter Cells, which I'm sure a lot of like hardcore stealth fans didn't like, but it was I thought some pretty neat approach to it, you know what I mean? WTF Jack with the 5 says, I love you. I love you too, Jack. Thank you so much for the 5. Alright, my roommate has halted his cleansing of his body, and I can continue on now. Do I like pancakes? I do. Pancakes are the shiz. Desiree with the 2 says, can you look at my Instagram like right now? I don't think so. I don't even know if I can open it here, to be honest with you. It would just be like a weird, like a weird situation to get that open. I'm not even sure how to do it on PC, but can check it out later. Thank you for the 2. Yeah, he does quick showers, quick scrub downs, purification processes. The narrator had a clown in his thumbnail. He had an old raspy voice that makes... Yeah, I think I remember who you're talking about. It wasn't like... Was it called just like The Clown or something like that? I think I remember him. He had like... He always wore like a clown mask. Avery Turner with the 2 says, what's up, Joel Mama Milkers? You know me, just making mommy's milk all day long, baby. Much love from Croatia. Nice. That's a long ways away. He better be washing his booty hole. I think that's all he washes. That's why it's a short one. Just like filled up with poop. Taylor says French toast greater than pancakes, greater than waffles. Oh my god, is that the tier list? 600 people, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Alright. Story number 2. Hopefully a little bit more winter-oriented. I have a really horrible story from my past. It makes me feel really uncomfortable, and this is probably the only way I can never really tell anyone about it. Wait. What? What is that sentence? And this is probably the only way I can... This just seems like a double negative. It makes me feel really uncomfortable, and this is probably the only way I can never really tell people about it. Maybe he meant to say... I don't know. Lene with the 2 says, pancake or waffles, gang? Shit. We talked about that last time. I mean, it really depends on the mood, but sometimes I look at waffles and they always seem fancier to me because the place that I go to, the breakfast place, charges more for their waffles, but I think it's just because they've got all the extra fixins on them, you know what I mean? Discord link, yes, yes. It makes me feel really uncomfortable, and this is probably the only way I can really tell anyone about it. I had your typical big happy family. Everyone loved each other, and everything was really good. Lots of aunts, uncles, cousins, and especially people your own age. There were probably about 30 of us, and we all spent a lot of time together, and we were all really close. However, not everyone in the family was a good egg, and here comes my Uncle Ron. He hadn't been in the picture for a long time because he was in prison. I didn't know what he was in prison for at the time. I was young after all. Kids shouldn't know that kind of stuff. He was always kind of the family mess-up, and everyone tried their best to help him. But from what I heard, he just didn't know what... Oops. Waffles are for rich people. Lol. But from what I've heard, he just didn't want to help himself. People would give him a place to stay, and he would do drugs on the couch. People would try to get him a job, and he would steal stuff while working. That's kind of the person that he was. He was getting out of prison right after Christmas. It was really cold. We live in a really cold area, and winters are particularly harsh, so it would have just been a little inhumane to let him fend for himself. Everyone knew that if someone didn't give him a place to stay, he would probably end up back in the system, or dead. And as frustrated as everyone was with him, no one wanted to see that. Everyone wanted him to succeed. Everyone wanted him to succeed. Asherella with the 2 says, hey, gotta pay for attention. Thank you, Asherella. You have achieved the highest attention ranking known to man. Joel's Gamer Battle Station with actual torpedoes. Everyone wanted him to succeed, the adults at least. But I was a kid and I didn't really understand the situation. I was only 13 at the time, but that didn't stop him from giving me some creepy looks. I hit puberty young and already had the body of a young woman, if you know what I mean. I remember him coming over one day when he had first got out. My dad was going to clear out a place for him to sleep in our shed. Our house really was not that big, but if he cleared out some tools and whatnot, there was definitely a good amount of space in the shed for him to stay. Not the most ideal, but it did have electricity and a little space heater. Heck, it was a free place to stay. Hard to argue with him. It wasn't like my dad forced him to stay out there all the time, just to sleep there. I think my dad was trying to protect me and my brother from seeing Uncle Ron high on the couch. About 2 weeks went by, and he seemed like he was changing. He was going for runs and applying for jobs. My dad also seemed impressed. I remember him saying that Ron seemed like he was getting his life together. It wasn't long before he had a steady job and had some money to spend. One of the first things he did was buy a cell phone, and I remember him asking me to help him set it up. Of course, I was more than willing to help, especially being a kid. Technology is one of the only ways I could have helped anyone, and I was excited to do so. He bought a really cheap flip phone, and it really wasn't all that difficult to set up. I almost questioned why he needed help at all. I remember a few minutes after we were messing around with some of the features, he took a picture of me thinking I wasn't looking. I definitely noticed him take the picture. It was very obvious. The whole situation made me feel really uncomfortable. I didn't really know how to comfort him about... sorry. Skinned locust. I remember Skin Locust kind of, but I also don't. Please no ASMR. ASMR farts. I didn't really know how to confront him about it, though. At the time, I convinced myself that he had just accidentally taken the picture by mistake and he deleted it right after. Despite having a job, he still had a lot of time to hang out and play around. I remember he specifically played with me and my brother a lot, but here's the weird thing that he did. He bought my brother a new gaming console. That must have been at least $300 or $400. He didn't get me anything, though. So, whenever he wanted to play with us kids, my brother just ended up playing video games. He was hooked on that thing. I think it was an Xbox. So that just left me and Uncle Ron to play alone. And that was when we started playing a new game. We would fake wrestle, or maybe play wrestle, I'm sure you know what I mean. When you're a kid and you wrestle an adult and they kinda let you have a chance even though you know that they're way stronger than you. But anyway, we started doing that, and it was one particular day that we were play wrestling, and my dad walked in. He got home from work early, and the second that he walked in, he started yelling at Ron. He told me to go to my bedroom, and I heard some more yelling. I didn't see Ron the rest of the day, and the very next day, my dad told me that Uncle Ron has to go on a business trip. I haven't seen Uncle Ron or heard anything about him since that incident, but my dad filled me in on some important information. The thing he had originally been in jail for was sleeping with an underage girl. I guess Ron had claimed to think that she was 18 and it was just a big misunderstanding. Of course, the family believed him and just excused it as if it was an honest mistake. My dad told me that when he saw him wrestling with me, he didn't believe that story any longer, and that was the second he kicked Ron out of our life for good. Like I said, I don't know where he has been or what he's been up to, but I guess threatening the safety of his kids finally got my dad to cut ties for good. Sweet, 2 super creepy stories right out the gate. Jeez. Tabitha, rich wine with the 2 says, your voice calms my anxiety. Thank you, Tabitha. I'm glad. Thank you for the 2. And ulterior motifs with the 10 buckaroo says, Joel runs the Matrix. I do. I am the... Who did run the Matrix in the movie? I forget. Wasn't the Keymaster? That movie made no sense because I'm like, I don't know. I forget who was in charge of that stuff. There was like the guy who had the keys, and then there was the Oracle, and I don't know. There was just like so much shit, and I'm like, this is a computer game. Like, why can't they just... Like, why is it... It's just weird. Like, if the robots made the computer system that the humans are stuck in so they can, like, harvest their bodies for energy, which seems really inefficient. What music? Oh, no, the music in the background is Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse. But, like, I don't know. You think that if they could run the program, or they made the program, that they would have a lot more control over it, but it just seemed weird. Hugo Weaving's character? Well, that's the thing. If he's agent, you know, the agent, or whatever his name, Agent Smith, like, why could he not have had more control over what happened? But yeah, Hugo Weaving is one of my favorite actors, I want to say. I just always really admired him, like, in any role that he played. I just feel like he was super professional and super talented, and always just... Usually he played like a bad guy, but I mean, he just would freaking knock it out of the park, you know what I mean? Yeah, they aren't super winter related, I guess. This kind of sucks. Hopefully we can get one that's on point. Why is it always going to be uncles? I don't know. He was the elf king or whatever in Lord of the Rings. I think he did great in that too, you know. I don't remember exactly how old I was at the time. Maybe 14 or 15. I had this really crazy guy that lived on my street. Everyone called him Crazy Mike, and he really was as crazy as you could imagine. But more on him in a minute. I had this one friend that was a little wild. We'll call him Charlie. He was kind of the adventurous friend that got me to do some crazy stuff. He went through a phase I have about 2 or 3 months where... Whoops. Creepy Mixtape, thank you for the 2, my friend. You guys are wild tonight. What about Corpse? Do I watch them? I don't watch Corpses. I mean, I've seen, like, whenever the... Like, I've listened to him narrate, you know, but I'm not, like... I don't really listen to a lot of, like, creepypasta, like, horror narration, true scary story type channels. So it's like I'll usually listen to someone once and kind of get a vibe of what they sound like. And then as far as Among Us stuff, I'm not, like, really into Among Us, so I'm not gonna, like... I think I watched, like, the first video that he made in this series, which was impressive in the sense that, like, I think he did a really good job editing. I feel like that would take a lot of, like, skill to edit all of those different people, especially longer videos like that. And then he did a good job explaining, like, what Among Us was in the beginning. But that's about it. Jessica with the 5 says, love your voice. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for the 5. You were on a COD mobile winning streak. Nice. I'm curious what mobile gaming is like. How would I describe my voice? Smoking. He went through a phase I have about... Wait, he went. I keep saying he, my bad. We went through a phase I have about 2 or 3... What the fuck is a sentence? We went through a phase I have about 2 or 3 months where... What? We went through a phase I have about 2 or 3 months where we hung...
Hey, listen.
What the fuck? Yeah, that's so annoying. We went through a phase for about 2 or 3 months where we hung out a lot, and it was honestly a lot of fun. One of the things we would do is explore the nearby woods. There was a lot of wildlife, and anyone could go out there and explore as far as they wanted. We lived on a mountain, and we would hike up the mountain when we had enough... What? We lived on a mountain, and we would hike up the mountain, and when we had enough time for the day... okay. When we had enough for the day. Sorry, some of these sentences are just weird to me. The Creepy Mixtape with the Force has just wanted to say, love your stuff. Thank you, Creepy Mixtape. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. I went through a phase. We lived on a mountain, and we would hike up the mountain, and when we had enough for the day, we would hike back down. We normally took the regular roads back down because it was just a little bit easier to get home that way. My friend lived a few routes up... What the fuck's wrong with me? My friend lived a few roads up from me, so I would walk up to his house with him and then go home by myself. I remember this one particular day we had gone hiking through the creek. Bear in mind, it was freezing outside at the time. There was snow on the ground and a lot of water was frozen. At one point, we had the bright idea of walking on the ice. As you might imagine, we fell into the water. It wasn't very deep or anything, not even enough to get above our chest, but we were dripping with water, and it was about 5 degrees outside, and there was snow on the ground. But being the crazy kids we were, it didn't stop us. We just continued hiking even after we got soaking wet. I don't know if we just had a really high tolerance to the cold or it was adrenaline, and we were all good. We continued on for a couple of hours that day. But after a certain point, I finally talked him into heading home for the day. He agreed, and we went out and got on the road. We made our way back down like usual. But this is the point when I started freezing. I was too cold, and I knew my body. I knew that I was an actual type... I knew that I was in some kind of danger, like getting near hypothermia or something. When we got to my friend's house, he was more than willing to let me come in and warm up for a few minutes. But just as we were getting to his house, my mom called him. She was really angry with me because I hadn't answered my phone in an hour. I tried explaining the situation to her, but she just screamed at me over and over again to come home. So I had to walk the rest of the way home, and that was that. This is where Crazy Mike comes in, because he lives one road above me, and it saves me about 10 minutes of walking if I cut through a part of his property to get to my house. He had a big fence, but so did his neighbor. There was a small walkway kind of area between the two spots. I was obviously in a rush to get back home and warm up. In fact, I was jogging most of the way. I hadn't heard anything about Crazy Mike by this point, so I figured it would be okay if I cut through his property this one time. I started going through, and that's when he came out of his house with a rifle. He pointed it at me and started screaming at me like a maniac. Of course, I turned around and sprinted away. I ran all the way back home and told my mother. She thought I was exaggerating and that I shouldn't have been cutting through people's property anyway, and that was when I started asking people around the area about him. I heard some stories about Crazy Mike and some of the things he would do. I heard that he was a conspiracy theorist, a drug dealer, criminal, felon, and a bunch of other nutty stuff. If I had to sum it all up in a single phrase, he was a bad guy. Whoever I asked never had anything good to say about him, and the part that freaked me out was that I still had to pass Crazy Mike's house on my way home. I didn't have to cut through his property, but I dildo. Run, Forrest, run. What color is my beard? It's just like basic beard color. Cream. Like a bluish cream. How do you become a moderator? It's got to pass through the greater trials and tribulations that I have laid forth. Meet me on the top of the mountain with the other graybeards. Your voice is making doing chores so much less annoying. I usually put my headphones in and listen when I go to laundromat or cooking. Nice, yeah, I'm glad. Sometimes whenever you do sort of monotonous stuff, you just need something to do. Rainbow color, yeah. But it's like all the colors mixed together. There's dildos and dildo-knots. I didn't have to cut through his property, but I did still have to walk in front of his house on the road to get to my house, and that made me terribly uncomfortable. Because now I was constantly worried that I was going to get shot or something. I still would go hiking with Charlie and all that, and after a couple of times of going home, there was no incident, so I thought that was going to be the end of it. However, I noticed something else. He had video cameras on the outside of his property looking out onto the road. I'd never noticed them before, but now that I was aware of his insanity, I paid a little bit more attention. Whenever I walked by, the cameras would follow me. What freaked me out the most was that they were manually operated cameras. They weren't the kind of cameras that just followed motion around. He was sitting there operating those cameras every single time I ever walked by, watching me. I'm not sure if he was recording all the footage or not, but he made me uncomfortable either way. I remember there was this one time when I was walking home from Charlie's house at night. It must have been about 10 or 11. It was really late, and even then, the cameras followed me as I walked by. I thought that this was going to be it. But no, shit, I accidentally clicked my mouse and it... Whoops. D-Shore with the 5 says, are you going to always have a beard or shave? Oh, you know... I don't shave very often, because people tend to get, like, mad when I do. They're like, what the hell? Why would you shave your beard? It looks so good. It looks so good, man. I love your beard. You know, and I feel like it's for, like, guys, and you could be wrong, but, like, kind of like what look you establish at a certain time, it sort of sticks with you. Like my buddy's dad, he's had a mustache ever since he's been born, essentially, and he's just maintained that mustache. Actually, two dads have always just had mustaches. It's kind of their look. I always thought it'd be funny to have a mustache, but I know they're associated with creepers anymore, which kind of sucks, because I mean, it's like to completely negate an entire like facial hairstyle because of, you know, 1 or 2 creepers. Come on, guys. But yeah, I'll probably always have some form of facial hair, mainly just because it's like, it comes back so quick, you know what I mean? It's like, if I shave it, I would either have to shave like every day like I'm in the fucking military, or it's like it's essentially back by the end of the day. I'm like, oh, okay. It's like you know, since I'm going through so many puberties, it just keeps wanting to sprout like spring. I'm already creepy enough, man. Creeper or Magnum PI? Definitely Magnum PI. I had a pretty sick mustache for a few days that I have a picture of myself. And I really liked it. I liked that fucking mustache. Shrek is love, Shrek is life, you know? You dislike beards so much you'll shave it for me. Well, I guess you'll never get any of this face. I don't know, my beard's pretty lit, to be honest. I keep it nice and, well, I just keep it nice, you know? Nice. Elizabeth Harrington with the 5 says, I have experienced some stalker story, but I would like to share, but what do you consider reading? Yeah, you can submit it to reddit.com/r/let's-read-official, and hopefully everybody there likes it, or you can submit it to my email. Take a peek at it. Let's read submissions@gmail.com. Can't guarantee that, I'm going to read a story, but if it does well on the subreddit, or, it looks pretty clean on the email, I'm usually will throw it into a compilation. Courtney with the 5 Canadian says, I have to ask, do you or anyone else remember Salad Fingers, the OG? Oh, yeah. Yeah, David Firth. He is a freaky boy. And one of the first ever Salad Fingers animations has one of my favorite musical artists on it, Boards of Canada. If you guys never listened to Boards of Canada, they're pretty weird, but they're also really cool. Rusty Spoons.
Oh, hello, Mr. Tabernacle. How are you? Rusty Spoons.
What are some... Yeah, I actually want to look up some Salad Finger quotes just to read them.
The feeling of rust against my salad fingers is almost orgasmic. I like it when the red water comes out. It seems the nettles have made the milk drop from inside my teat. Oh my goodness, this episode.
Let's see what other shit that he said. Some funny ass shit. Oh, this website sucks. Didn't even have any good quotes from Salad Fingers.
I'll give you a hand if you're feeling rather fatigued, Milford Cubicle. I've made you a friend hat. What's wrong, Mr. Fingers? Do you not like my mouth words? Naughty mouth. You hold a welcoming texture, a pleasure for the tips. Ugh, Rusty Spoons.
If you guys haven't watched Salad Fingers, you fucking should. It's funny as hell. Pretty much all of, David Firth's videos are so funny, dude. Cream is a really fucking good video. I thought that was going to be it, that nothing else was going to happen between me and Crazy Mike. Well, I was dead wrong. It was still during the same winter season, and I was walking home during a blizzard. That was just the kind of guy I was. My mom was going to order pizza that night, and I didn't want to miss it. I passed by Crazy Mike's like I always did, and that was when something unexpected happened. He had this giant fence. Oops. Giant fence. Shit, I lost my spot.
Mr. Cumberbatch. My mom was going to order pizza that night, and I didn't want to miss it.
I was walking home during a blizzard, and that was just the kind of guy I was. What a fucking weird-ass sentence. And I was walking home during a blizzard, and that was just the kind of guy I was. My mom was going to order pizza that night, and I didn't want to miss it. I passed by Crazy Mike's like I always did, and that was when something unexpected happened. He had this giant fence, and it had to have been 15 feet tall, and it was this really thick wood. Part of it opened up, and a dog ran out after me. I couldn't tell what kind of dog it was, but it was angry and barking at me really loud, and ran after me, and I could tell that it was going to bite me as hard as it could. I got a seriously violent vibe. I was lucky that I was in really good shape and managed to sprint away, having a head start. Didn't slip or anything else either. That situation could have turned out really bad, really fast. But either way, my family ended up moving a few weeks later for unrelated reasons. My mom actually got a new job in a different state, and that was the end of my experience with Crazy Mike. Even now, I wonder what his problem was. Was he some kind of drug dealer or criminal? Why was he so paranoid about some kid walking in front of his house or cutting through a piece of his property? I've asked my friend on Facebook a couple of times if he's heard anything about Crazy Mike, and apparently nothing has changed. So make of that what you will. I guess the moral of the story is that you should avoid crazy people as much as you can. Sometimes just rocking. Courtney with the 2 says, that made my night. Thank you, Courtney. I'm glad. And Roxy Blonde with 5 says, bring back the memories I forgot I had. Lol, thanks for the continuous great sense of humor. You're welcome. Thank you, Roxy. I'll never forget.
Salad fingers.
Hey, listen.
Sometimes. Sometimes just walking in front of their house is enough to set them off. Puberty sucks. Puberty sucks. Puberty fucking sucks. It's always the crazies with the thick wood. Has anyone watched Obey the Walrus? I've never seen it. All I know is propane and propane accessories. God dang it, Bobby. God dang it, salad fingers. Get your god dang fingers out of my ears.
Oh, but you feel so good, Hank, against my tips.
I don't give a good god dang. Alright, let me lube the lips up. Probably make it a little bit easier. After 13 years of marriage, your wife just smoked her first joint with you. Nice. How's she feeling? Hopefully she's not too
Paranoid. The police are coming. The police are coming to get you. You've smoked a joint. You've broken the law. I've called and reported you. It was a rusty joint, and now you have lockjaw.
Have I played any Insurgency lately? I have not, no. I want to, but like I kind of left a bad taste in my mouth last time we played, where we were just getting fucking spawn camped, and like, I don't know, I just feel like there's no modes in it that kind of like let you live out that sort of Call of Duty experience that like isn't Call of Duty, you know what I mean? I don't know. Something about it was just frustrating. All the people that like no life, it just made it completely unfun.
Lube up the lips.
Tetanus, yes, that is. This isn't actually my story, but it happened to a friend of mine. Actually, it was 2 friends of mine, and the entire situation was my fault. So my friend Steven was someone I played Xbox with a lot. We went to the same school, but we only had one class together, and it wasn't a class where you could really talk to anyone. The teacher was really strict, so we pretty much just played Xbox together sometimes. Mostly Halo or Call of Duty. If I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't really know him all that well. I mean, I thought I did, but I really did not. The other friend of mine is a girl. Her name is Brittany. She was in our grade and I was friends with her. Sometimes we texted or hung out in class. She was one of those really eccentric people. I remember her posting a whole bunch of funny memes on my Facebook wall. Some of them were mildly inappropriate. Luckily, my mom wasn't friends with me on Facebook, so nothing bad ever happened to me. But I thought it was a great thing. The world is already dull and gray, and some people had just a little bit of color. But anyway, I had added Steven on Facebook. Like I said, we only really played Xbox together, and it was over a year into our friendship that I even realized he had a Facebook account. I guess guys don't really care that much about being friends with other guys there. Who knows? Well, he noticed Brittany's memes on my Facebook wall, and he asked me about her on Xbox one day. Naturally, I didn't think anything of it. In fact, he wasn't the first person to ask me about her, but I told him that I was friends with her and everything else. He asked if I was going to try and ask her out. I explained to him that I wasn't interested in her like that, and I just wanted to stay friends with her. And that was pretty much where the end of the conversation happened. The next day, though, he added Brittany on Facebook. After all, we did all go to the same school, so I didn't think it was that weird. That's when Brittany messaged me and asked who this guy was. I explained to him that he went to our school and that I played Xbox with him from time to time. This all started going on at around November, and the funny thing is that we had a crazy blizzard that year. We had I didn't miss a donut, did I? Sorry. I thought I... Yeah, we're good. Okay, cool. Joel Dirta. Afraid of Santa Claus. Anyone here actually afraid of Santa Claus? In his big sack of goodies? We were out of school for like 2 weeks, and it was the 2 weeks right before Christmas break, so everyone was celebrating. It was a Christmas miracle. It gave all of us... Wait, what? Oh, the blizzard. Okay. This cat wants in. Let me let him in real quick. He's fucking crazy, dude. Krampus. Oh yeah, doesn't Krampus like throw you in his sack? He wants in. He's just so stupid. He just like I'll open the door, and if you open it too fast, he sprints away. But I open it just a little, he'll sit there and stare at it like, what's this all about? And what's this here? And what's this all about? What's this here? Just fucking staring at it, and then he'll slowly come in, rub his face against the crack of the door, and then he comes in. Then he jumps up in the bed and like flips over on his back, like instantly wanting his belly rubbed. It's like I'm sure your pets have like an algorithm that they go through. Like, okay, I do this, now I do this, and I do that. But if I do this, I do that. And if I do that, I do this. And it's like they all just fucking have the same shit they do. And the funny thing is that we had a crazy blizzard that year. We were out of school for like 2 weeks, and it was the 2 weeks right before Christmas break, so everyone was celebrating. And honestly, it was a Christmas miracle. It gave all of us plenty of time to text and play video games, and it was during all that free time that Steven started acting weird. He started asking me weird questions about Brittany, and I just kind of figured that he had a crush on her. After all, if I'm going to be honest, she was a very pretty girl, and I couldn't have blamed him. I also knew that he was kind of an awkward guy, so I just didn't think anything weird was going on. I specifically remember one day when we were playing Halo. We were having a really good time, but in the middle of a game, he said that he had to get off. He just turned his Xbox off and left, and right before he did, he just said in a really hurried voice that he had to leave. I was doing really well that game, and we were playing with 2 other people. I just kind of brushed it off and continued playing. The next time I saw Steven was when we went back to school after Christmas break. I saw him by the lockers. I asked him what he had been up to, and he was looking at his phone. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed that his phone wallpaper was a picture of Brittany. I thought that was kind of weird, but he turned it off and put it away before I could get a really good look at it. So I just chalked it up to me seeing some sort of illusion or something, or perhaps it was in my subconscious. And I already know what you're thinking. I know that I'm naive and I didn't see any of the red flags. The many, many red flags to come. But I can't change how I acted. It was also around this time that Steven started talking about her all the time. I guess he had gotten her number somehow and they started texting each other. But here was the weird part. He would text her while we were playing video games, and he always got so excited when she texted back. It wasn't very often, and I kind of got the vibe that she didn't really like talking to him. But whenever she did, I would hear his phone make this weird sound. He had a frog sound effect as his text ringtone for some reason, don't ask me why, and whenever he heard that frog, he would giggle like an idiot. It was really weird. Fast forward a couple of days, and Brittany texted me out of the blue. She asked me if I could give her a call because she really needed to talk to me. I had no idea what was going to be about. Sorry. Diamond Knight 76 with the 4. Thank you, Diamond Knight. It's gonna go to some coffee at some point. Thank you, my friend. There's 3 Britneys here. Is Steven bothering you guys? I have no idea what it was going to be about, and I gave her a call thinking it would be something serious. And it was. She asked me what was wrong with Steven. She told me everything. He was obsessively texting her and calling her and messaging her on Facebook. And here's the worst part. The time that he got off of Xbox really fast in the middle of a game, she was getting off of Xbox to go to her house. She didn't invite him, though. He invited himself over to her house. I guess he had gotten his mom to start driving him to Brittany's house, and Brittany told him that she wasn't even home. I don't know what he told his mom or even how he got her address. It was the freakiest thing. Brittany didn't know either. She said that he had got really mad after that, and she didn't understand why either, especially because she didn't even invite him over or give him her address. He was literally stalking her hardcore, and of course she blocked him. The next time he was on Xbox, I invited him to a party and asked him what he was doing, but he pretended like nothing happened. And when I pressed him about it, he said that she was just being a female dog and prude. This was the point where I stopped playing Xbox with him. I just wouldn't accept his invites and started appearing offline for a couple of weeks. After a while, he got the hint. Brittany told me that she came really close to calling the cops 3 or 4 times. She was really worried that he was going to do something else. After all, he didn't know where she lived, and that was a couple of years ago. I haven't heard from Steven in a long time. I'm still friends with Brittany, and she said that she hadn't had an incident with him. Wait, what? Oh, or had any more. It's okay. Fuck. I'm still friends with Brittany, and she said that she hadn't had an incident with him since, but looking back, it was a real eye-opener for me. I didn't realize you could spend so much time playing video games with someone and not even realize what a freak they really are. He was definitely creepy, but like, I kind of feel like that story sucked, you know what I mean? Like, it all felt like it was culminating into something, and then... Because sometimes I'm like, you know, when I'm like searching through email for these stories, you know, or through the subreddit, it's like I kind of do like a Control F process. So it's hard to like vet whether aside from like basic grammar, whether the stories are going to be like solid. It wasn't a bad story, and obviously you wouldn't want some creeper like showing up at your house, but I feel like the conventional like listener would probably be like, what the fuck even happened in that story? You know what I mean? It's just like kind of a blue balls scenario. Red flags that led to blue balls, you know? Alright. Am I Bruno? Oh, what's up? It's me, Bruno. Have you guys ever seen Bruno? Because like Borat 2 came out. I don't know if you guys seen Borat 2, but Borat 1 is like way better. And then there was Bruno, and Bruno's funny as fuck, dude. There's one part where he's doing like an interview, I think with like Paula Abdul, and like he has her sit down, and like the people that he like the chairs that he has them sit down on are like just people on all fours. It's just so weird. Doing anything special for the holidays? Nothing really planned thus far. I don't really know. It's probably all the same. You know, it's same as usual. You know, my grandma was positive for COVID, so like we put things on the back burner for a little bit for holidays. So I think after the 2-week period of time where they're not contagious, once she's not contagious or whatever, and pretty much they're isolating it to like people that have only like worked with her primarily, are gonna continue to work with her because she's pretty old. And yeah, then once they're out of that contagious period, we're gonna just have another family little get together and stuff because we kind of missed Thanksgiving for the most part. I had a really horrible experience during a summer trip for our school program. It was a JROTC summer camp, and for those of you not familiar with the program, it basically gives you basic military understanding. You go on runs, do marching commands, stuff like that. It's offered in most high schools in the United States. I come from a family of military professionals, so it just seemed like a logical choice. Even though I didn't plan on joining the military myself, I am a pretty short girl. My name is Caitlin, and during camp I met a nice guy. He was in my squad during a particular practice exercise, and I thought he was a really great guy. We didn't get to spend too much time together, though. The boys and the girls slept in separate buildings, and most of the time, we didn't get placed in the same squad for activities. I remember thinking that he was really funny and cute. He was one of those guys who somehow had the ability to make jokes that didn't have to hurt anyone's feelings, and I always thought that was rare. If you think about it, it's really difficult. When was the last time you made a joke that wasn't at the expense of someone else? So I guess I valued that, and it was one of the things that attracted me to him. Like I said, we didn't get to spend a lot of time together, and it just made me want to be with him more. We exchanged phone numbers on the last day in the hopes that we would date sometime after we got out. We kept in touch for the following weeks, and everything seemed good. The only problem was that he lived about 30 minutes away from me. We were both seniors in high school, and that is a long trip for someone that makes minimum wage part-time. We talked on and off for a few minutes, but... not a few minutes, a few months. Hey, thank you, Raven. Yeah, self-deprecating jokes are, I guess it's at the expense of yourself, perhaps. I don't know. We talked on and off for a few months, but it didn't really go anywhere, and I just figured that I would let it lie? We talked on and off again for a few months, but it didn't really go anywhere, and I just figured that I would let it die. That was until around late October. He started talking to me a lot. I remember we became really close, and we talked on the phone a whole bunch and were texting each other obsessively. My family got mad at me at Thanksgiving because I was on my phone the whole time, and I could not get enough of him. He seemed so interested in me. I later found out this because he had just broken up with his girlfriend. I didn't even know that he was in a relationship, but yeah, he got interested in me once he was out of that last relationship. He still kind of flirted with me before, though. Still not sure how I feel about that, and it seemed kind of sketchy. I remember at one point the conversation just became a little dry for me. I got a little less interested. Not exactly sure why, he just seemed so into me. He texted me obsessively, even a few weeks later, and my interest started to wane. That's when he started getting really brave over text messages. He would say really intimate, almost too personal things to me. even started sending me dirty pictures of himself. And not just regular pictures, like very dirty pictures, if that gives you any kind of inclination. This one time, he kept saying that he wanted to sleep at my house. He said that he could borrow his mom's car over the weekend, but he didn't want to drive all the way back until the next day. He kept asking if he could just sleep in my house. Obviously, my mom would have said no. She wasn't the kind of parent that would just let a boy sleep over, and my dad would have murdered him if he had ever found out that he was trying to sleep over. Well, he just showed up one day. Literally just came to my house. I mean, what in God's name was he thinking? I had given him my address before, but this was completely unannounced, and we had been talking for months prior. It was just a really freaky and unexpected thing. He brought me flowers and chocolate, the whole thing that would be really sweet if it wasn't so creepy. It just gave me a really bad vibe. I ended up spending the day with him. We went to the park down the street and got coffee, but he still insisted on trying to sleep over. I told him no, and after getting a little pushy, he gave in and drove home at about 11 at night. Other than the weirdness, the day didn't go that bad. I did still find him funny and charming. I just had some subtle warning signs about him that made me a little uncomfortable, and looking back, I should have paid more attention to those. Now here's the crazy time that put our relationship to an end. He tried getting me to sleep over at his house. He began getting really forceful. At one point, he threatened to hurt me if I didn't try to sleep over at his house. I kept trying to tell him that my parents would not let me sleep over at a boy's home, but he didn't care. It was a big ultimatum, and that was that. I know. Messed up, but he had me under a spell, and it worked. And here's how he tried to spin it to my parents. He had a younger sister, and I tried telling my mom that I wanted to sleep over at my friend's house. That was a girl, and that What? He had a younger sister, and I tried telling my mom that I wanted to sleep. Oh, okay. Sorry, some of these sentences just like fuck me up. I'm confused. I thought the invention of the light bulb came from the thought that sleeping was lazy. Oh, interesting. Sleeping's lazy. I need to be awake all the time. He had a younger sister, and I tried telling my mom that I wanted to sleep over at my friend's house. That was the girl. And I wanted her to drive me over there. Keep in mind, I didn't have my car or a learner's permit or anything. I was kind of scared of driving, if I'm going to be honest. Anyway, I just told my parents that I wanted to sleep at a friend's house, and they were completely on board. They didn't have a problem with it, obviously. I had done it many times before. My mom drove me over there, and when we got there, the only person home was him, and his family wasn't coming back until Monday. He didn't even tell me that he was home alone for the weekend. My mom had no idea that there was going to be no parent super... My mom didn't... fuck. My mom had no idea that there was going to be no parental supervision. She is kind of overbearing with stuff like that, so she asked him to speak with his parents. She just wanted to double-check that everything was good, and that they were okay with the situation. Well, as you might imagine, it wasn't long before my mom figured the situation out. She drove me back home, and that was the end of that whole situation. I texted him and asked him why didn't he tell me that no one was going to be home, and he literally told me that he was going to do horrible things to me. He got mad at me because he wasted his entire family vacation time on trying to get freaky with me, and he didn't get to do anything. I thought he was going... Does this have anything to... Oh my god. Does it... Oh yeah, I guess they mentioned about Thanksgiving break. I don't even know. With the winter clickbait. I mean, I totally thought that... Fuck. I don't know. Tis what it is. I'm sure no one will... I mean, you guys still listen, so, I mean... I'll probably start with that, like... I mean, we still got 2 more after this. Yeah, fuck. I thought he was just playing some kind of joke on me, but then he started sending me pictures of some weird torture stuff. I don't know if they were weird toys or what. He specifically told me something that he was going to do to make it... What the fuck? Follow my MySpace, yes, please do. He specifically told me something he was going to do. He specifically told me something he was going to make his dog do to me. Yeah, some pretty sick stuff. And I was freaking horrified after that. I had no idea that he was such a freak. I always had a bad feeling about him, but I never listened to that voice in the back of my head. Anyway, my mom told me I wasn't allowed to talk to him anymore, and she was really unhappy that I was being deceitful with her, and I can understand that. If it hadn't been for my mom, God only knows what would have happened. To this day, I still don't really know why I went along with everything for so long. It was like he had me hypnotized or something. I haven't spoken to I haven't spoken to or heard from him since, and I don't think I want to, either. Fuck. Adventure time. Come on and bring a friend. Blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, 700 people. What up, 700 people? What's popping? I got shoes on? I do, yeah. Feet are not out yet. Don't even try to suck those toes, because you're just going to get a mouthful of rubber. I am wearing socks, too. I feel like if you try to wear shoes without socks, like you can do it, but your feet really get stinky. And I feel like it's not very comfortable to me. Stinky feet. Amy says ligma. What's ligma? Is that some sort of disease? 12:12. Oh, it is after midnight. Shit. What do you think of regular show? I liked regular show, but I don't think I liked it as much as Adventure Time. I feel like regular show maybe tried to be a little too edgy. Like I found its character, like its main characters, a little bit annoying compared to like Finn and Jake. I feel like they were fun, but the regular show people just seemed like a little rude. I don't know. It wasn't a bad show though, but I do remember, like I think I was in college and it was on TV, and I remember hearing them say "damn" on it, or like "damn it," and I was like, "Whoa." They just said a bad word during a cartoon on Cartoon Network. Listinky is your dog's name. That's funny. Adventure Time is a scene kid show? What's a scene kid? Like a gothic kid? I don't think Adventure Time was very gothic, was it though? But once again, I want to say that my experience watching those shows was pretty much just like my nephew watching it and me catching it and passing. God of Pez with the 5 says, give us your best impression of a celebrity. Hey, not asking you to freestyle. Oh, thank you, Pez. Best impression of a celebrity. I feel like you'd have to tell me which one, and maybe you guys can say one in the chat and I can see one if I can do it. I'm not the best at impressions, but sometimes I get like the tone down a little bit. Cybergoth, yeah. I'm more of a cybergoth. I like to dance under bridges. Scooby-Doo's the best cartoon. Scooby-Doo was good. What keeps saying that? Hey, listen. Well, that's the notification for when someone donates, and it's from Zelda, but I altered the tone of it. Christopher Walking, yeah, I did that last. Jack Black. I don't think I can actually do like a Jack. What's up, Jables?
Fucking, I did I like picked up a lot of mannerisms watching like Tenacious D and Jack Black stuff, and he's like, we need to fucking take this shit on the road, baby. You know, like just stupid shit. You know how Jack Black. If you've never seen The Pick of Destiny, that's a really fucking good movie. Janice from Friends. Samuel Jackson. These motherfucking. That's all it's just anything related to motherfucking. Get these motherfucking snakes off this motherfucking plane. Samurai Jack, yeah. Samurai Jack. Long ago. Aku! The voice actor of Samurai Jack is pretty cool. He's fucking, like, he was also the voice of Hermes from Futurama. Which is pretty... Obama. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your 44th... I'm, like, mixing up. 44th President Obama. You can keep your... Scene kid action. I can't do. I need to like hear it honestly. Spinal. I'm not good at impressions like on the go. I'm not an impression person at all. I just like can't like. And if I do it, it's like fucking a half-ass bullshit version of where someone who's actually good at it. Raven West Ninja with the 5 says a goth is what scene kids achieve to be, but with colors and big hair. Oh, I thought scene kids were just goth kids, but like a different name for it or something. George W. Bush. Ladies and gentlemen, we must take action to fight against this war on terror. Now watch this putt. Watch his putt. That'd be funny if he made you watch a putt at like he was playing mini golf instead of normal golf. My thoughts on South Park. I love South Park. I haven't watched South Park in a long time. Same with Family Guy, but I think they're good. You know, I think Family Guy's better than South Park as far as writing goes. Do corpse husband. Yo, what's up, everybody? I just woke up again. I don't drink water, and I just smoked an entire vape with unicorn cum flavor. Fuck. I'm gonna take a poop. Fuck. First thing in the morning. Fuck. PewDiePie. Yo, what's up, guys? It's PewDiePie. It's me and Marcia. We're gonna fucking do a thing, and then we're gonna go on a vacation for the 9 trillionth time. I remember PewDiePie did some vlogs, you know, some Tony Montana, say hello to my little friend. Okay. Okay. You want to play? Aren't they making a remake of Scarface or something like that? King of the Hill, yeah, King of the Hill is great. Shout out to Let's Read for doing PewDiePie. Top of the morning to you. Oh yeah, critical. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Woo! Remember that? Yeah, that's like the big meme, or not the big meme, but you see it everywhere. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Woo! What's up, guys? It's critical. What's going on? Mr. Beast. I don't think Mr. Beast has like that unique of a voice to like. I don't know. Mr. Beast is like a weird character because, like, in my opinion, I don't really feel like his content gets carried by his personality, perhaps. Like, I don't really look at him and see him as, like, I just look at him and I see him as, like, a very normal person who just so happens that, like, his content is so extreme in the sense that it's, like, extreme, you know, giveaways and shit like that, or like doing planting 1 trillion trees on Mars or whatever. Like, obviously that it's just his content is clickbait, so it's like
I don't know. Like, I'm sure obviously he's a nice guy giving away all that shit and stuff, but as far as the personality goes, I don't think I've ever watched enough of his videos to kind of determine what his personality is per se, you know. Matthew Mercer, yeah, Matthew Mercer's fucking impressive, man. Like, when I found out that he would, like, whenever you see his reel where it shows like all of his video games that he's done, you know, he's the voice of I can't even do McCree, like, whoa there. Or no, I suck at McCree. I can't do McCree. Jensen's really good at fucking different voices, but Al Capone. Brittany, I don't know what you sound like. Yeah, what do you sound like? Oh, I see. You wanted a Britney impression. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Britney sounds like.
Beavis and Butt. I need
What is it?
I need TP for my bunghole. Cornholio.
Beavis. Jesus. Fucking idiot. I can like only do the laugh. I think it says, I'm now a very modern emo adult. Nice, dude. He's a beast of a voice actor. I know. I mean, yeah, those like professionals, like it's just weird. Like, it's weird. Like, he played this one, I think it was, I don't know, seeing him go from McCree and then to this like one like Japanese warlord character from like Dynasty Warriors, that was fucking impressive. You know what I mean? Aaron Wilson with the two says Beavis and Butthead are King of the Hill. I watched a lot more King of the Hill because it was like part of my time, but I feel like I watched a little bit of Beavis and Butthead when I was younger because it was on MTV and shit. But I remember even when I was young, like I liked King of the Hill and I watched it, but it wasn't. I almost feel like it didn't like gain a lot of popularity or like sort of meme-hood until later on. You know, like almost in the past like 4 years or something. Robin Williams. I'm over here. Now I'm over here. Oh, I can't believe I would have done that. Ooh, yeah, ooh. Keemstar. Let's get right into the news. It's so funny. Like that's like probably one of the funniest thing about YouTube to me is that like Keemstar is the arbiter for internet drama, but he himself is like one of the most toxic people you could like it's just like the most hypocritical bullshit of all time to me. But I do also find his meme, you know, just him as a meme funny, you know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day I don't really give a shit, you know, people just do their thing, but it's just like the irony to me is not lost. Like, I see the fact that like Keemstar is always talking about controversy, but he himself is just a controversial character. Perhaps maybe that's why he's so successful at his bullshit, or maybe it's just all the clickbait and riding off of others. Mega with the 5 says, Lamau, you're fubbing weird and it's amazing. Thanks, Mega. Thank you for the 5. And Jenny Fofeni Hicks with the 1. Thank you, Jenny Fofeni.
And Cartman from South. Wait, Cartman.
But Mom.
Listen.
No, kitty, this is my papa.
I feel like Cartman has really evolved as time has gone on. Kind of like how there's a big difference between like Stewie season 1 of Family Guy, Stewie, I'm an evil genius, into like, oh, Stewie. You know, he's like sort of like borderline sort of effeminate, you know what I mean? You can't tell. But he's also like, sometimes they bring the evil genius stuff back in. It's funny. But I like that about the Family Guy characters, that they're kind of like multifaceted, I suppose, like beyond just like one stereotypical character or stereotype of themselves. They have a few that kind of define them. Like I love about Peter, you know, like Peter Griffin he's kind of an idiot, you know, but he's also, like sometimes Peter can be really savage with some of the shit that he says, whether it's about Meg or just commenting. It's like it always sticks with me, like, oh, Cracker Barrel cheese, and then he like eats it, but it was like in a Star Wars episode, so he's like a little lightsaber that he cuts Cracker Barrel cheese with, and then he like scoops it out of his tongue, and he's like, yuck. Like, he's just really critical of everything at the same time, but also a complete moron. I think one of my favorite episodes of Family Guy is when Peter, and Adam West, the mayor, are like best friends for a little bit. Because it's just, I don't know, something about like two complete idiots like hanging out just was really funny. Shut up, Meg. My favorite comedian. Well, I really like Louis C.K. I haven't seen much of his stuff in the past couple years, or if he's still doing stuff. I love Dave Chappelle, obviously. Bill Burr, all those top guys. I really admired, what was his name? Talk like this. Like, if you got one truck with logs coming from one way on the highway, then you got a truck with logs coming this way on the highway, and they pass by each other. How the hell? Which way are they going? Why don't they just stay where they're at? I don't know if you remember that guy. Anybody remember who that is? But I admired his approach to comedy because it didn't have to be dirty. You know what I mean? He's one of those. He's kind of like how that one person in the story was talking about who just says you don't have to like make fun of somebody, or you can almost like talk about a situation, and the way that he delivers, you know what I mean, is more powerful, I think. Amberlynn Perez with the 5 says, have work early in the morning, but I'll finish the stream in the morning. Don't forget, we effing love you, Joel. Give Pradeep the pets for me. Exit. Thank you, Amberlynn. I love you as well. Thank you. Yeah, Brian Reagan. Yeah, Brian was really funny. I feel bad for comedians because you kind of got a taste of what life is like as a on-the-road comedian from the show Louis, which was Louis C.K. Also, it's funny, Louis C.K.'s last name isn't actually like C.K. It's like a weird, I don't even know what you want to call it, but it's like spelled like Sitke, or like pronounced like Sitke, but it was just easy for him to say C.K. But yeah, you kind of got a vibe of like what like being on the road as a comedian has got to be tough, because you're just all, like you could be doing a huge show on Broadway in front of like, 1,000 people or something like that, then suddenly be like at some like back road trucker bar or something. But kind of curious now what it's like for entertainers who usually do stuff on the road. I feel like they're probably not active at all. Kevin Hart. Yeah, I haven't watched a whole lot of Kevin Hart, to be honest. He seems funny. I think at the time, I don't know, I feel like Kevin Hart had a lot of stuff and I just never gave it a whirl to listen to him, and I should probably check him out, honestly. All right. Let's get on to story number 6 here. Hopefully it has something to do with winter. I've been single... Fuck. John Mulaney. Yeah, John Mulaney's good. I've been single for a really long time. The last boyfriend I had was a lot younger than me and might be one of the least intimidating guys in the world. You see, I had a really horrible experience when I was younger. I was in 8th grade at the time, actually, and there were older boys who rode on our bus. They were in high school. Part of me always knew that they were bad news, but I thought that they were mostly harmless. Oh, how wrong I was about that one. Let me back up for a minute. I was your typical overachiever. I came from an African-American family. My parents worked incredibly hard to provide a good life for me. I was an only child, and they wanted nothing more in my life than to see me succeed, and I really did my best. I was a part of a bunch of clubs, got good grades, the whole 9 yards. But part of being that kind of kid meant that I didn't have a lot of time for friends or social life. I don't know what I expected the social life of a middle schooler to be, but whatever I had wasn't cutting it for me. I only really had 3 friends. One of them was my cousin who lived in another state, and the other 2 went to my school. One of them was on the chess team with me, and the other on my bus. I was chatting with my friend on the bus one day, riding home from school. Like I said earlier, they were those boys. They sat in the back. They didn't really bother anyone, but they gave off a certain feeling that made me feel intimidated in some way. Not sure I can explain it beyond that. Well, toward the middle of the school year, they started getting really flirty with me. Whenever I saw them around, they would compliment me, and I won't lie to you, I loved the attention. Having guys show an interest in me felt so good. I know I was young, but I so desperately wanted to expand my horizons in that part of my life. One of them eventually got my number and we started talking. He invited me to a small party where those guys and a few other people were getting together. I normally would have said no. There's too much to do most of the time, but it happened to be on a day when we had a lot of snow during winter and school was closed. It probably would be for the next few days, and they even offered to pick me up. I asked my parents about it, and they said that I could go along as Oops. Oh, Bo, yeah, Bo Burnham's funny, yeah. I asked my parents about it, and they said that I could go along as fuck. I asked my parents about it, and they said that I could go so long as I brought my phone and kept in contact with them. It was actually really fun. I had a really good time at that party, and I felt like the center of the room the whole time. I was the only girl there, and they all flirted with me. During that winter, I started spending more and more time with them. My friend from the bus encouraged me. I felt a little weird being the only 8th grade girl amongst a group of high school guys. But I was young. I didn't think anything of it, and as weird as it was, I had a good time. Very early on, they started trying to get me to drink alcohol. Of course, I didn't tell my parents about that part. I also didn't tell them that they were older than me. From a practical standpoint, these were some bad people to be hanging out with, but I never gave in. I told them that I was too young to try, and they didn't force me or make me feel bad about it either. They respected my decision. I remember one Friday night, I actually think it was the night that started winter break, I had just gotten my grades back for the first half of the school year, and I had over a 4.0. My parents were so proud. I was hanging out with those older guys, and they were all drinking a lot of beer. It must have been around 6. That was normally around the time that I went home, but my parents texted me and said that I could stay out late that night if I wanted to, as Oh, yeah, to record my voice, Ryan, I saw your question there. I use an H4n microphone. It's probably not the best for voice recording, honestly. I just kind of chose it because I was familiar with it when I started, but I think it kind of gives that like ASMR vibe because it's like a stereo. It records in like stereo where it's like 2 microphones going at once, so you're like all over the place, man. And yeah, so it's called an H4n, and it's by the company Zoom. It's called a handy recorder. There's different versions that have come out since that are updated, but I don't know. This is just the one I've been using, but I think there's a lot of probably better options for recording. Oh, what software? Oh, well, basically that microphone has an SD card in it that, every time I start and stop, it saves a new WAV file. So whenever I connect it to my computer as like a drive, I can import all those files into the program that I use to edit, which is Sony Vegas. So that's what I use. I do bring it into, after I edit it in Sony Vegas, I bring it over to Audacity where I remove the background noise, which is important to like make your audio sound a lot better. Do you need a filter? Yeah, there's these things called pop filters that are super cheap. I mean, most people start out with Blue Yeti and use Audacity to record as well. I don't know the process in which how that workflow feels when editing with Audacity. It can be, I think, kind of tedious on there. But there's the pop filters. You could use anything for a pop filter. You could even use, some people use like their spandex or something like that because it can stretch over a little bit of a distance. I mean, if you're really on a tight budget, but most of the time pop filters are pretty cheap. Squawk filters are better, yeah. But my parents texted me and said that I could stay out late that night if I wanted to as a reward for doing so good in school. One of them started getting really drunk, though. His name was Tyler. That was when he did something a little unusual. He offered to give me some Kool-Aid. I don't think that he was being racist, but that was the only thing they had available, and since everyone else was drinking beer, it was the only thing that I could drink that wasn't alcoholic. I said yes because it honestly wasn't all that bad. Also, I love that lemon-flavored Kool-Aid, favorite thing in the world, or at least it was. I remember him giving it to me and looking at me in a weird way. When I drank it, it tasted fine, but a little while later, I started getting really lightheaded, and at a certain point, I passed out. I don't really know what it was in that drink, but the only thing I know is that I woke up at 9 a.m. I was almost completely naked except for a bra, and my body felt weird. And it felt weird in exactly the ways you'd expect. We mostly hung out in one of their basements. It was a really big area, and there was another room beside the basement. That was normally where people would put their coats and stuff. I was in that other room. I ran back into the main area of the basement and started screaming at them. I was so mortified and felt betrayed. How could they do this to me? They started teasing me and saying that I was Tyler's girlfriend. I had like 100 texts and phone calls from my parents. I really didn't want to stress on my parents any more than they were already. I kept asking the guys where my clothes were, but they wouldn't tell me. Tyler said that if I gave him a kiss, that he would give them to me. But I was honestly disgusted at that point, and I was standing there in tears, begging for my parents from... Well, jeez, these stories are fucking heavy, dude. Fuck. And I was standing in there in tears, begging for my... And I was standing there in tears, begging for my clothes from guys who were 4 years older than me. Finally, I gave up and just started to leave. I just needed to be home at that moment. I was not okay, and that was probably the worst experience of my life. I had to walk home almost completely naked while it was snowing outside. I didn't have any panties on. Luckily, I could put my jacket from the other room around my legs and cover that part of me up. It was a little awkward wearing my coat that way, but it prevented anyone else from seeing my bottom half. When I got home, my parents were obviously shocked. They kept asking me who had done this to me, but I wouldn't tell them. I felt so ashamed. I kept telling them that I just wanted it to be over and to forget it. I told them that I was okay and I was never going to see those people ever again. Jesus. I told them that I was okay and I never was going to see those people ever again. I remember my father holding me in his arms for a long time, and I really needed that. Eventually I got showered and got ready for bed, and I thought that I was going to be able to just forget about that night, but of course, it's never that easy. It was only a few hours after I got home that Tyler started texting me. He said that he had pictures of me and he was going to send them to everyone in school. Of course, I told him not to, but he said the only way that he wouldn't was if I sent him more. And this began the creepiest, most humiliating phase of my life. That creep sent me disturbing pictures and videos that they had taken while I was passed out. They did things I really can't talk about, ever. Just know that they were horrible and... Okay, why? I'm confused. Why would they not immediately go to the police with the family and her? They did things I really can't talk about, ever. Just know that they were horrible. And Tyler said that he was going to let the world see them if I didn't send him even more. Tyler began stalking me. He texted me all the time and went into full predator mode. And the worst part was that I couldn't even tell my parents. I thought that they would disown me if they saw those pictures or videos. I felt completely helpless. Of course, I now know that I should have said something that night, the night I got home, but I didn't. And the abuse continued for way longer than it should have. It was around February that I finally had enough. Tyler kept asking me for pictures, and I was tired of sending them to him. I just couldn't do it anymore. I decided to do something about it, and I asked one of my favorite teachers for advice on what I should do. She was extremely supportive and got the situation resolved. We filed a police report and did everything we could. Thankfully, there was a lot of proof over text messages. The boys basically faced a serious criminal threat if any of those pictures ever went out to the world, and the important part was that I don't think my parents ever saw them. I know they would have been so ashamed of me, and I didn't want to let them down. It's been a long time since this experience, and it really shaped me into who I am today. It's why I haven't really dated much, and it's also why I hate winter. I'll always remember the cold snow touching my bare back as I walked home that night. I haven't kept up with what happened to any of them, but I can't imagine. It's good. I feel like in that scenario, I feel like there should have been like way more to what happened to those kids. Sucker Punch with 20 says, "Can't believe you're still streaming. How are you? I feel like I haven't popped up." Yeah, it's good to see you, Sucker Punch. How are you? Thank you for the 20 ballerinos. Holy shizzer. Sorry, just a lot of heavy stories tonight, you know what I mean? Like, they're just kind of like creepy and that one was really fucking sad, and I feel like we didn't really get a lot of closure to what occurred.
Listen.
Yeah, like, I don't know if it was just like too far after the situation, but I feel like it doesn't really matter. Like, you don't need a forensics kit or anything like that to, you know, based on accusation to see some criminal charges. You know what I mean? I don't know. That was fucking weird. Yeah, I don't know. Alright, well, last fucking story here. I don't know where we're headed. I consider myself a very romantic girl. I've always loved the idea of romance, and I've always wanted a really happy relationship. And that was probably why I had a serious relationship that started when I was a freshman in high school. The guy I met was kind of nerdy, but he was super sweet to me. I remember he brought me flowers in school one time, and that completely won me over. We dated for a couple of years, all throughout high school actually, and even into college. We ended up going to the same community college as well. I really thought that we were going to end up getting married. I even secretly started planning our wedding. Of course, I didn't say anything about that to him because I didn't want to freak him out, but it was on my mind. But one day, something about him changed. I couldn't exactly tell you what, but he became a little bit too possessive. I always knew he was a jealous person, and I did my best to be sensitive to that, but it's not overwhelming after a certain point. I had a chemistry class, and I got paired with a guy to work on a project. We had to do some work outside of the class, and you already know how my boyfriend reacts. I told him I couldn't hang out one day because I had to be at the library to get some work done. He seemed a little suspicious about it. I almost always made time for him. He wasn't used to getting told no. Me and my chemistry partner were almost done with our project. We made a lot of good progress, and I was sure that we were going to make a good grade, but that was when my boyfriend showed up at the library, and oh my god, he made such a scene. It was the worst thing ever. He started freaking out. He tried fighting my chemistry partner. He just kept yelling at me that he was trying to spend time with me, and I lied to him to spend time with another guy. He was literally hysterical. He thought I was cheating on him. He thought I was cheating on him, but nothing I said stopped him. He just kept going, and everyone in the library was staring at us. The librarian didn't even intervene. They just let the whole thing continue. Finally, I told my boyfriend that we were over. I said it really loud and very firm, and that was the only thing that got him to stop. He made the most broken facial expression I'd ever seen, and he stormed out. After that whole experience, I decided that I really didn't want to be with him. He was just too jealous. I talked with him later on the phone that night, and I explained that I was planning on breaking up with him anyway. But that whole fiasco in the library was a serious tipping point for me. He still thought I was cheating on him with the guy in the library, and I was honestly done fighting about it. He said that he was willing to try and work it out no matter what. He said that he didn't want to lose me. He really wasn't taking it well. It finally got to the point where he was begging me to stay with him, and I just couldn't tell him no anymore. I finally told him goodbye and just hung up. Looking back, I don't know how else I could have responded to that whole situation. He was really difficult, and this is the point when he started stalking me. And it was small stuff at first, like I would notice him at the same stores. He just always happened to be there. Of course, he was just looking at me. He would see me look at him, and then he would look away or pretend like it was... What therapy session are we talking about? Psycho-obsessed boyfriends? Yeah, this... yeah, fuck. I don't even know. He would see me look at him, and then he would look away or pretend like he was looking at his phone. But I knew that he was watching me. I remember it got really bad during the winter, actually. He would come to my house and write me messages in my car in the snow. He would say things like he was sorry and that he would charge and that he... Charge? What's wrong with me? He would say things like he's sorry and that he would change and that he forgives me. Every single thing in the world. He tried to say it. He was willing to do anything to get me back, but I didn't want to be with him. And the more he tried, the more it creeped me out. I remember doing this really weird thing outside of my one philosophy class. There were glass windows, and I had a seat next to the windows, and he would sit on the bench outside and stare at me every single class. It was horrible. There was no escaping him. And one day, things finally went too far. No, my family had always... Shit. Sorry. My family had... Oh, Sucker Punch with the 25. Buccarino says, I'm straight up not having a good time right now, lol, but oh well, we gotta just get through it. Glad I was able to catch the end of the stream, though. Oh, thank you, Sucker Punch. I'm sorry to hear. Hopefully we can be here for you. If you ever want to chat, you know, people are always willing to chat in the chat or on the Discord. Come and hang out and make some friendos to talk about things. But thank you so much for the 25. Holy hell. Blueberry says, Joel, can you do Elf with Will Ferrell impressions, lighten up the night? So many sad stories. Laughing is my favorite. What does he say? It's like, I love the part where he like burps and he's like, did you hear that? I hope Elf is playing somewhere on TV. It's... Oh, fudge. No, my family had... Oh, okay. No, my family had always gotten a cabin for Christmas. My parents and two sisters would stay in this cabin in the woods and spend time together. My family wasn't very big on spending a bunch of money on gifts that people didn't really want. Call us communists, but the family time was much more special, and I really enjoyed that tradition. My ex-boyfriend knew about this cabin. In fact, we brought him with us one time, so he knew where it was. I remember it very vividly. It was snowing, we had a fire going, we were drinking eggnog and enjoying Christmas cookies. We were having a really good time. I went outside for a smoke break and I was just sitting on the rocking chair outside. This was when I saw something in the woods. I got really nervous that it was a bear. That was always our big fear when we stayed in that cabin. There was always the possibility of a bear. But I squinted my eyes a little bit and noticed that it was no animal. It was my ex-boyfriend. When I first noticed, I screamed. I ran back inside and told my family. They already knew that my ex was a total creep, so we all got prepared. My dad went inside. Whoops. My dad went outside and chased him away. My dad said that he chased my ex-boyfriend for about a quarter mile through the woods. He figured that was far enough and that he wasn't going to come back, especially since we were going to have the cops notified about the situation. We did our best not to let him ruin our Christmas cabin time, but we all felt a little uncheesy. We didn't feel very cheesed to meet him. Yeah, the ex is a werewolf. It's crazy. We all felt a little uneasy after that, even though we knew that he was probably harmless. It just felt a little uncomfortable after that, at least for me. My family was very supportive. My family was very insubordinate. My family was very supportive about the situation, though. It's been a little while since the whole situation, and I still see him from time to time, and it's really bad. He doesn't really reach out to me anymore, but I know he still watches me a lot. Getting a restraining order almost feels like being too precocious. I don't want to be mean about it, but at the same time, I really want to move on from him. Stop my friends. What is it? Stop my friends have been talking to me into getting restrained. Oh, stop my friends. Cheems to meet you. The ex is Bigfoot. Hello, Clarice. Some of my friends have been talking to... Fucking hell. You've been watching Christmas Story since a baby. Nice, yeah. It's like maybe I'll like Christmas Story like now that I'm a little bit older, but when I was a kid, I was not a huge Christmas Story fan, to be honest with you. I just kind of felt like it was, like I didn't really associate very well with any of the characters or like feel very entertained by them, I guess. And something about it, like watching the movie reminded me a lot of just like an old, like the movie itself was like the embodiment or like the movie version of like your grandmother's house that's covered like a room covered in dust. You know what I mean? Like it just smells like old house. I don't know. That's a weird comparison for a movie like that, but something about, I mean, it is an old movie about from like the 80s or 70s or 80s, but from quite a while ago. Yeah, I don't know. Do the Grinch. I'm the Grinch. I'm the Grinch. The cheddar is all mine. Some of my friends have been talking me into getting a restraining order on him, though, and I might. Looking back, I shouldn't have been such a romantic. There were a lot of warning signs that I missed. He was a seriously messed up individual, and I ignored every single warning sign there was, and there were plenty. If you're like me, make sure to understand who it is that you're with. I almost married that guy, all because I built up some fantasy relationship in my head, the way I wanted things to be, but not the way things really were. Make sure you see things for how they really are, and hopefully... How the fuck did she almost marry him? Was she not, like, 4 years old? What the... All throughout... Oh, okay, it was at all community college. Okay. For some reason I thought this was, like, all in high school. I'm like, you married him outside of your philosophy class? Like, what the fuck? I was at recess, and I almost married this guy. The way I wanted things to be, but not the way things really are. Make sure you see things for how they really are, and hopefully everything will work out. Well, honestly, I'll probably start... Let's see. I'm probably going to start the video... I'm going to alter some things around and start the video with... What the fuck? Where even? There was one that I wanted to start. Yeah, the one about the dude the crazy neighbor, and then And then probably do this one with the boyfriend. All the other ones I just feel like are too like heavy to like kick things off with, you know what I mean? And aren't super winter related. They're just like they mention it in passing, I suppose, or it happens in that general time frame. I don't know. I need noodles. Yeah, I need noodles too. That sounds fucking good. I need food. Food will be sweet. It's kind of funny, like, just 2 impressions for the intro. Oh, for the outro, yeah. Alright, well, we have reached the end of the stream. It was a good stream. Like, you guys definitely made it a good stream. It's just these stories were kind of, like, not really the standard that I guess I'm used to, perhaps. Maybe I don't really have a standard. I don't know what you guys are used to, but ramen noodles. I used to eat a lot of ramen noodles. You want a huge steak? Yes. I got married during recess one time. Ew, food. Yucky. Yucky. Alright, I'm going to read this outro, but you guys please do think of something funny to say at the end. Well, actually, I don't even know if I should say a funny thing if I end it with that, like, really sad story. Maybe. I don't fucking know. I'll just read this outro, and if you guys say something that I should say, I'll just blame you. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/letsreadofficial, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my Discord to interact with me and all other I'm like not even, I've like read it so many times that I'm not even looking at the words, but it's like I'm like mixing it up with other lines for some reason. Cheddar doing business with you. Oh god. If I said that at the end, that'd be funny. Running into a murder in progress. Oh my god. Has that ever happened to anybody? And remember, I think I actually said in one of my videos about being cheesed to meet people. Maybe not. Maybe I didn't. And join my Discord to interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all these stories in long compilation form and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends. And it was I don't know. Cheddar cheese is the best. Cheesed. And I'm cheesed to meet you. Hey everyone, please subscribe. Oh, fuck. Santa, oh my god, I know him. I know him. And it was Cheddar doing. I don't get the cheddar part. Is that like what word is Cheddar filling in for? It's a pleasure. Yeah, it's a Cheddar. Say goodbye to my little friends. Thanks so much, friends. And it was Cheddar doing business with you. I'm just going to read the I'll see you again soon, because for some reason I just feel uncomfortable about making a joke in this video. I don't, even though, like, I don't know, something about this one feels weird. Thanks so much, friends, and I'll see you again soon. Oh boy, we have made it to the end. It's always better if it has cheddar. You are loved and I appreciate you. Well, guys, thank you again. You seriously were so incredibly wildly kind and generous tonight. So thank you so much for that support. Seriously, keeps me alive, keeps me rocking and rolling. And Yeah, it might not be the greatest and sometimes kind of heavy stories tonight, but hopefully, hopefully, I don't know. But yeah, anyways, so like I said, I'll get this edited and up on Patreon for $1 a month. If you guys ever want to join over there, it's always a good time. Get an early access MP3 you can bring with you everywhere you go. You could throw it into your CD player and just, oh, that'd be hilarious if someone had a bunch of CDs, but the CDs just had like my thumbnails on like as the, like someone printed out like one of the thumbnails and put it on the CD, and then the CD had an MP3 of one like episodes. Oh, that would be so interesting, but I feel like a complete waste of time. But anyways, if you guys ever want to do that, I would be very impressed. um, but yeah, thank you guys again. Like I said, join the Discord if you haven't already, to chit chat with everybody and continue to make friends and stuff like that. A lot of fun folks here, and I'm going to bring that over to the Discord. And then follow me on Instaslam at letsread.official. Twitter is a very good one to follow me because you kind of keep up to date when new videos are. Hit that notification bell if you haven't already. On Twitter, it's at Let's Read Creepy, and at Horny Computer for the best memes in town. You know what to do on Instagram. But yeah, guys, thanks again. Much love to you. Thanks for being awesome and kind to each other. Appreciate it. Keeping things chillax, baby. And yeah, we'll see you again soon.